Hi guys, this is Carol. Welcome back to my channel. And if you haven't done so just yet, please like and subscribe and please share with a friend. So guys, I'm back. I am here doing a retrofit to a set that I did on my last video on my way out to New Orleans, and I cut them down and I'm retrofitting them. So when I came back, I cut the tips off and I was about to do them on my own, and then I was like, "Oh, no, 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 no! You got to tape this, okay?" So we picking up where I am working on the lifting, if there is any lifting, and there was just slight lifting around the edges, and I'm also taking down the bulk of the nail as like I said, we plan to retrofit these. And guys, I know my videos are coming a little bit slow and far in between. I was heading out to New Orleans. I will drop a couple of photos with my friends that we meet up twice a year, different parts of the country, to support each other, salon owners. And while I was there, we had an amazing time. I will drop towards the end of the video some of the pictures. But I also, on the last day that I was in New Orleans, I lost my cousin, and it was just very devastating for myself. And I am home right now, and I'm just trying to keep somewhat of a routine by doing the things that I enjoy doing and not being depressed over the fact that I lost my cousin. All right, and I will share some videos with you, some pictures with you all towards the end. So like I said, right here, I am just cleaning up a little bit of lifting. I'm using a medium grit sanding band, and I am also just buffing out the new growth that I have in the back, and I'm getting ready to retrofit. And you guys can see when I was buffing on the natural nail, I was buffing at 2000 RPMs. We'll be using Entourage Nail Gallery monomer today. In my dapping dish, I have my famous brush, and I am going to do pink on pink. So we will be using Young Nails Protein Bond, and the last couple of videos I've been using the same pink, which is by Kiera Sky, and I think it's Flamingo is what it's called, Flamingo. Let's Flamingo. Right? So as you guys know, I like to do two coats of the protein bond. And on this video, I'm just going to be doing my left hand, and you will do the right hand off video. I really don't want to make this a long one. I just want to share me refilling my an already existing set. And the left hand, remember on the last video, I built it on forms. So we are just working on those nails. So I just put my brush, and I'm going to go in with a little bit of clear. I know this is a step not everybody does, but I like to do it. I have done it so much I don't make it too thick. I just really like to have the clear contacting my natural nail or my guest natural nail, as well as if we want to go down to changing the color, we have that base on the bottom that I can file down to the clear. I do it the way I do. You feel free to do it however you do. But the bottom line is um, whatever makes you most comfortable is what I would employ you to do. So as you can see, I am dipping my brush in the monomer. I'm taking up just a little bit of powder to fill in the gap in the back at the cuticle area. I'm keeping my sidewalls clean. And I'm just filling it in And remember, we have to come over the top with pink on this. So we're not trying to, this is not for building up thickness. This is just, like I said, it's something I like to do. I feel like it makes the pigmented powder, I feel like it makes a pigmented powder have something to hold on to. And also, if I need to file down to it, I can change the color once the guests come back. And this is a Kiara Sky Flamenco. Let's Flamingo. I pick up a little bit, a little bead. I'm letting it start the process on the brush of mixing the liquid and the powder together. I'm pushing it up to the cuticle and I'm bringing it forward. And like I said, if you go back to the last video I posted before this one, where I did I think we were calling it, it was inspired my New Orleans inspiration. You would see me building this on a form. It had some encapsulation in them. It was absolutely beautiful. A little bit longer than I would normally wear them, but because I was going out of town and wasn't going to be doing laundry and dishes and stuff like that, it was perfectly fine, and I got loads of compliments on it. Go check out that video. So I'm just gently putting on another bead, pull it forward, keep the side walls clean. And I don't do a whole lot of short videos. When I say short, I mean the length of the nails being short. And so I felt like it was time for me to start putting some out, because not everybody really wants to wear their nails long. And I will be doing a lot. I'm launching my e-magazine, and I'm going to be doing a lot of typing and stuff like that. So my next couple of sets will be short for those of you who wanted some short videos on short nails. And yeah, I hope you enjoy. So about my trip to New Orleans, those of you who've never been to New Orleans, I highly recommend it. I just put a bead towards the front, and right here I am brushing it backwards, and that is so that I have enough thickness at the front of the nail and that it blends well in the middle. As you can see, I'm also using the body of my brush as the acrylic starts solidifying. I'm using the body of my brush to pull it forward. And I'm really trying to create a very aesthetically pleasing nail. Yeah, so I got to New Orleans. We had a lot of delays on flights. And I usually fly American, but I found out from my local airports, if I fly Southwest, I can have a direct flight to New Orleans, and I don't have to switch planes like I did in Texas. So the next time I go, that's the route I'm going to be taking. But New Orleans was absolutely beautiful. Lots of history, lots of food.
Sorry, I didn't get that. The internet isn't reachable.
I was able to try beignets. The last time I was in New Orleans, we didn't have the beignets. It was great. And that was, you guys was hearing my device speaking in the background. We had beignets, which is like a donuts with what do you call that? Confectioner's sugar on it. It was amazing. Ate lots of oysters. So here it is. You guys can see, when you're working on shorter nails, if you're used to working on long nails, it does take a little bit more finessing of the powder of your solution to make this nail look good. Take your time with it. You guys can see me working the body of my brush to pull the powder forward. The shorter the nails is, the more mistakes you can see on the nail. It's a little bit, you can make them look like chiclets if you're not careful how you could make it look weird, right? So I like to put a bead down, let it sort of get almost, you don't want a runny bead. You want it to be a little bit more a workable bead. And then I can actually use the brush and pull it forward. And when it's this short, if at all possible, I try to use one bead and pull it all the way forward. You're going to see that when you do it that way, not only does it even out the thickness when it gets to the front, you have a nice even thickness at the front, tapered it down from the back. If you have to, of course, you have to put another one in. But I'm just saying, if you can, work one bead forward. But you will see me pulling that one bead from the back. Even if I had another one that I put on there like I did on this nail, I'm really using the brush and purposely pulling it from the back. You don't want to be putting 2 and 3 beads on such a small. You can do two, but not necessarily. If you can't get away without putting a third one down, just pull it forward. It's so much easier to do longer nails, and so we tend to gravitate to that. But I will be going back and forth between long nails and short nails. And when they're long, I'll try to retrofit them. It's getting progressively harder for me to keep up with a whole bunch of stuff that I'm doing right now, but I am trying. I'm putting another one, and I am putting it closer to the back, even though I don't want the back thick. And you will see me go to the back of that bead and pull it forward. So when I go to the back of the bead to pull it forward, what I'm doing is I'm thinning it out in the back, just like that. I'm going from the back, pulling it forward. And by doing that, I'm tapering the product as it comes forward. Yes, pulling the body of my brush, and I'm tapering it off as it comes forward. So we have symmetry on the nail from the back to the front, and it's not overly thick anywhere on the nail. If it doesn't if you don't have enough product to bring it all the way forward, that's fine. Put some more down. But while I'm working it, that's the game plan that I have in my head. And we're going to do the same process with the pinky. Now, I am going to go back and encapsulate with some clear You don't have to encapsulate if you don't have trinkets that you are putting inside the encapsulation. I like to do it simply because I am going to file down the clear almost back to the pink, but I really want to have evenness on the pink on the bottom. So I am putting the clear so that I have the clear that I need to, that I'm doing the retrofitting without removing the pink. Because sometimes if you put the pink down too light and then you file over it, you will start having some see-through and it's not evenly, the powder doesn't look even on the nail. At least I found that to be the case because I'm putting it down so light that I don't want to file on top of it. In the past, we used to say don't file on the pigmented powder, but you can definitely file on pigmented powder. I like to put a little bit of clear over it so I'm not working directly on the pigmented powder. And that's only if you didn't already put the pigmented powder down too thick. Do you guys enjoy working on short nails or are you just a long nail type of person? In the comment section, please let us know. Also, guys, I don't know if any one of you have run into this problem, but I have. I noticed there is a message. So, like when you leave me a message, I cannot read the messages because YouTube deactivated something, some type of a restriction, and I can't seem to figure out why I would have a restriction on my channel. I'm working to remove that restriction because I don't do anything that I think I should be restricted. But in any event, go ahead and still leave a comment. It might take me a little while to answer you while we figure out what's going on with this restriction thing. But yeah, that's what I have going on right now. So right here, I believe this is clear. I'm just brushing on a little bit of clear. So that's what I would be working on and not necessarily the pink. And totally, this is a step you can totally choose to skip. And you will know if you've already built up the nail too thick. As you can see, they're not too thick right here. And for some nails that was built for longer that I cut down, they retrofitted very nicely. So now we're just going to clean up and get rid of all the stuff that we're not going to be using. And like I said, this was Let's Flamingo Entourage Nail Gallery Clear. So I'm going to do some hand filing, or at least I started off thinking about hand filing. I love this shot. It shows you straight, me holding the file straight up and down to square off the tip of the nail. And on the bottom, I'm just showing you where it's a little bit thick, and we would use my e-file to create the little C shape on the bottom and take away some of the thickness. And then I kind of got carried away and I just went the rest of the way with the e-file. Right, so right here I am giving it the little C shape on the bottom and taking away some of the thickness. And then also on the top, I am removing some of the thickness. I'm going, pulling on the skin just a little bit, and then I'm going around the cuticle area and fitting those nails nicely so that it doesn't look chunky. And I'm using on this time I switched the sanding band for a coarse sanding band. And on mine, the colors are the same, but I know the container that I took it out of, it says coarse, medium, and fine. So this one is a coarse one that I'm using to do the heavy lifting on this nail. I'm taking a look at it from all angles. And when I first started working with an e-file, going around the cuticles was a very intimidating process for me. On this one, I am going on the bottom, creating that, thinning down the thickness as well as creating a little bit more of a C shape. Because when I put these down with the forms, I did not pinch them to give that curve on the bottom. I didn't need it at the time, but now that I am making them shorter, I need to. If you notice that my e-file is skipping a little bit, that's because I needed to turn the speed up a little bit higher. And at some point I will adjust it so that skipping that you see me doing will eventually go away. But I was supposed to be hand filing and I started e-filing. And you will know when the nails start taking shape. You're going to be like, yeah, that looks good. And then you move on to the next one. Yeah, so I was having a blast in New Orleans. We had a 2-day class, and the 2-day class was absolutely amazing. I came back with new energy to put into my business, and um, and this wasn't like a nail class. This was more of a business class, how to provide customer service to your guests, um, implementing different aspects of your business to help your business run a little bit more professional. So it was more of a professional business class. After classes, of course, we get to go out and explore the city. And from the last time I was there, I knew a guy who does those pedicabs where it's a bicycle and it has a rickshaw on the back. And you would sit and they would ride you through the city and tell you about the history of the city. So those were great. And on the last day, like I said, um, we had a bridge that fell down in Baltimore. And my husband does use a bridge to go to work, but it wasn't the bridge that he used to go to work, so we were good. But that same day, I lost oh, my cousin. I love that man so much. Oh, Lord, I'm still trying to deal with the loss. and why I had to lose him, but God is in control of these things, and I know he's resting in peace. It's going to be a while before we have his funeral, and it's in the Caribbean, but yeah. So I'm using I believe that's my nut polish rectangular zebra file, and I'm just making sure I go over the top. When you're doing nails, we work from all angles of the nail, on the sides, on the bottom, on the free edge, and when I go over the top like this, I'm really trying to make sure that the nail is even from front to back. When I go across, I'm removing bulk. And forgive me for my hand going off. Right, so when I go across like that, I am shaping and removing bulk. I'm making sure that the nail is aesthetically pleasing. And once again, because these nails were built on a form and they were built to be longer, when you cut them down and you're reshaping, you really have to be careful to reshape with short nails in mind, right? You have to change the apex from the original position to where you need it to be. It doesn't have to be like a huge one anymore. Um, well, it wasn't really huge in the beginning, but you know what I mean. The When the nail is longer, the apex travels forward, and when the nails is shorter, the apex travels backwards. So, and I'm using my brush on my e-file, removing any debris that is on the nail. You can use a hand brush for this, but you can see the e-brush, it works just, it's smaller and it works just fine. I'm coming in with my young nail buffer, sponge buffer. And we are buffing out all the scratch marks from the tools that we were using. I'm using the coarser side first, and then I'm going to use the finer side. So I use the coarse side until I don't see any more scratch marks. I can also use it on underneath if I feel like the nail is sharp. And I'm going to do all 5 nails on the rough side first, and then I'm going to come back and do the smoother side. And you see I'm paying attention to around the cuticles as well. We want to make sure I do that so that I don't get any hair. It's nice and flush to the cuticle, and I don't get any hairs sliding up underneath the nail. And don't rush this brushes, guys. Make sure you note, you're buffing really well. There is no scratch marks, because if you polish, especially if you're polishing with just clear, you will see the scratch marks. And you notice I'm using my eyes to look at this. I'm also using my fingers to feel for smoothness. Any roughness that I may feel, I want to buff that out. There's no rules to buffing, just as long as you get the scratch marks out. Alrighty, at this point, what am I going to be doing? Right, so you all know my ritual I like to do with the cuticle oil. We're going to be using the Entourage Nail Gallery cuticle oil, and we are going to start hydrating first to begin with. Of course, you can go wash your hands and hydrate with water, but I like to put a little bit of cuticle oil down, start the hydrating process, but I also want to see if the oil travels up underneath the acrylic. I want to make sure it is sealed to my natural nail properly, that we're not having any moisture when the guests wash their hands at home and apply lotion, that they don't get any product underneath it causing any lifting or even fungal issues. Okay. Now I'm going to move in with my nut polish glosset, and I'm going to apply it to all 5 fingers. And of course, guys, I will be doing the next hand off camera, but I really didn't want this video to be long. So be careful to get all the sides properly. I'm going to dry that for 60 seconds. And then I'm going to come in with my pink nail art gel. And I'm using the brush directly from the container. And I'm going to freehand draw. I still don't get my lines even on both sides, but I am I am actually wearing this right now, and there are slight imperfections in them, but listen, I'm absolutely enjoying it, and it doesn't have to be perfect, 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 but it's perfect. So we're gonna draw the smile line, and I actually went ahead and flash cured that one, and because I started on my middle finger, it's kind of in a weird position, so I flash cured it so that I don't ruin it. And I flash cured for 10 seconds. Now you can choose to use your, I feel like if I had used my nail art brush, I would have probably got a little bit more cleaner lines and filling and stuff like that. But you choose to use whatever you're comfortable with and what will give you the best end results. The pink on pink was just absolutely amazing. And I'm just drawing a smile line and filling it in. There's not much I can tell you other than, take your time and draw them evenly on both sides. And even though it's Easter and I could have used a pastel, I kind of liked the hot pink. There's no rules that say I have to use pastels, but it's Easter weekend. And I actually did these on Easter Saturday. Today's Sunday. I'm doing the voiceover. I wish I had like a 3D cross I can put on it, but hey, it is what it is. So now I'm going to just go ahead and fill in the index finger. And then I'm going to cure that for 60 seconds. And as you guys see, I had put a coat of Glossit on the bottom. And now I'm going to put a coat of Glossit on the top after I cure that for another 60 seconds. Looking at them, making sure that I am happy with what I got. So now that I'm coming in with the cuticle oil, it means that I'm happy. It's cured. And yeah, so I'm just rehydrating. I'm happy with the end results. Rubbing it in. Look at that, and they're pretty nice and pink on pink. I like them, and I'm gonna be enjoying some short nails. Like I said, I'm working on some stuff that is gonna require me to be typing. So, and these are the people who gave us a ride around the city. This is me and my girlfriends. Tearing up the tongue in New Orleans. If you're ever in New Orleans, look these folks up. There's their number. This is us enjoying a beignet. Oh my God, guys. New Orleans was amazing. And then towards the end, this is my cousin. I love this man so much. And he was the most senior member of our family. Rest on my cousin until we right meet now. Again. And I lost him, and his loss will be felt forever.